This just in, Miraidon EX wins another huge tournament. How's it going, trainers? LAIC has just concluded and we have some electrifying news for you. We're going to be going over this brand new Miraidon EX list that utilizes some of the awesome Paradox Rift cards that were just released and legal for standard play. We'll cover the whole list for you in the video, showing how it took down the Masters division, go over some of the matchups that it encountered, and talk to you about some of the gameplay as we walk through that together. Before we get into the video though, I do want to give a special shout out to all of our sponsors that help support our team and the channel here. And if you'd like to help support and do your part, you can check them out as well with the links down in the description of the video here, or you can use any of these awesome discount codes to save some money on some Pokemon products. Now, we'll hop right over, so I'll see you there. And here's the full list. We're going to be covering all the parts and how you're going to use these cards to your advantage. I'm sure that you've seen a Miraidon EX list if you've maybe been playing the card game for a while or just got into the game, but you know how this deck kind of works. It's just going to accelerate energy and be hyper aggressive into those turns and also put some roadblocks up for your opponent. We do see that there are 3 Miraidon EXs in this list, and that's going to be used mostly for the tandem unit ability to basically set up your board just like a battle VIP would. Now, if we're looking for other search cards in this list, we do play 4 Ultra Ball, which is really great here, and 1 Nest Ball. Now, Nest Ball is used for a lot of cases if you don't have your Miraidon to set up other Pokemon, but you can also use it to go find things like your Squawkabilly or your Mew EX in a game that you need them, because unfortunately they are not lightning Pokemon. So we do play 1 of each of those other Pokemon. Squawkabilly is really great in your opening turns only because it can use that Squawk and Seize and get you 6 more cards. And then Mew EX, not only does it have a cool restart ability that you get to draw a hand of 3 in case your opponent Ionos you down to 1 or some nonsense like that. Well, we can also use that with Ultra Ball too, because we're thinning our own hand, and then we can restart for maybe a few extra cards here. And then we're looking at the rest of the list. We do see 2 Raikous, which is an efficient attacker for only 2 energies, and it gets to draw an extra card with the fleet-footed ability. Then you have your Lightning Rondo to follow up and just do 20 plus 20 for each bench Pokemon on both sides of the board. Now, the new addition to this list is the Iron Hands EX. Now, Iron Hands is well known for its Amp You Very Much attack, which is going to be used in matchups like the Gardevoir EX and also Lost Box. When you have those single prize Pokemon that you don't necessarily trade favorably into, you can use Amp You Very Much and take an extra prize, and now you're trading a little bit more favorably in the rest of the game. We do have Raichu to clean up those big HP Pokemon like your Gardevoir EXs specifically, or maybe even a Mew VMAX, and that can ramp up based on the amount of lightning energies that you have on the board. Speaking of putting lightning energy on the board, we do have our 2-2 Flaaffy line in here, and Flaaffy has the Dynamotor ability that can accelerate energy to your bench Pokemon from your discard pile. This can also be used in synergy with Ultra Ball if you're going to discard some lightning energies early on in the game, or with one of your supporters if you just so happen to do that. Speaking of which, let's talk about the supporter line. There's 4 Professor's Research, so you can dump your hand and draw 7 brand new cards, which has always been great in the game, and then 3 Ionos. So older lists have used Judge in the past in combination with Iono, but this list went for the heavy Iono play where you're playing 3 in this list. So now you have 7 draw supporters essentially, and that's really good to be hyper aggressive with a list like this. We do see 3 bosses orders, so you can start sniping, and that'll help you with things like your Amp You Very Much attack from Iron Hands again, and not going down to the 2 bosses orders has been really good. I've seen some people play 4, but keeping it at 3 is an even amount, I'm sure. And then we could use the 1 of Arven. Arven's great because it not only gets us an item card, but it also gets us a tool card. Now, if we look at the tools in this list, we do see 2 Bravery Charms, which I really like in a list like this. It ramps up the HP on your Iron Hands to 280. You can put your Miraidon at 270. So really good here in a list like this to use Arven. Now, if we're thinking about Pokemon too that have extra HP, touching on the Zapdos in this list as the single prize attacker, but also having the ability. So going back to Iron Hands, if an Iron Hands doesn't have a Bravery Charm, you can smack it with a Miraidon and a Zapdos in play. So we can see that coming into play a lot of the mirror matches for the future if we see more Miraidon become a standard part of our meta game. So having the Bravery Charm is so good because Miraidon does have a way around just attacking those big HP Pokemon. Then we take a look at the switching items in this list because Arven can also get our switching items. Now we notice there's only 2 free retreat Pokemon here and there's no Beach Court Stadium to help you retreat. So I see that Arven in combination with our 4 switching outs, either 2 escape ropes or 2 switch carts, is really good here because a lot of our Pokemon, especially Iron Hands, have at least 1 retreat cost, and then unfortunately sometimes you get your Flaaffy stuck, and Stall was kind of scary, I'm sure, with Snorlax being a real deck and having something stuck in the active. So 4 switch is really good here. Another card I believe in is Super Rod. Now, playing a low count of 13 lightning energy is awesome, but sometimes you run out of that energy pretty quickly. I know a lot of lists have opted to go to a higher count of lightning energy and just playing that. So having the Super Rod late game, or maybe even to put your Iron Hands back in the deck, has been really good. And we got to see that in some of the live coverage of the LAIC games here on the official Pokemon channel. Now, one of Lost Vacuum is also really good to get rid of the opposing Bravery Charms, but also Path to the Peak turn 1 really sucks for this deck. So having a Lost Vacuum in this list can be so good. And I really think that maybe with a lower stadium count here, to get that path bump, you definitely need the Lost Vacuum. Now, we do see Forest Seal Stone as the other tool, which can grab any card. We're just using that like an A-spec computer search here, and anytime we're low on a specific card that we need, we can flip the stone and then just go in and grab what we need for the rest of the game. Now, we do only see 2 Path to the Peak, which is a little bit weird, and I see that there was some space made, but 2 Path is a little awkward in this list. I do see that the Iono Path plays could be real, but we're going to be a little bit more conservative in a list like this, opposed to the pre-Paradox Rift format where our paths are maybe going to be late game, or maybe just at turn 1 after we've used our Squawk and Seize ability, hopefully, and putting that down. Now, we did make space to put the double turbo energy in here. Now, double turbo energy can be used for things like Iron Hands to get your Ampu very much off easier, but it can also be used in combination for something like Mew EX. So you can Dynamotor an energy onto it onto the bench, then put your double turbo on, and then you're swinging with the attack, and that's so good in so many matchups. And I always say to anybody I talk to about Pokemon TCG that if you're teching a deck and keeping something a little inconsistent, you have to ask yourself this question, that am I going to use a tech for more than one thing? And then if the answer is yes, then put that tech in there. But if it's just for one specific thing, don't use it. Like if it was just for Iron Hands EX, probably not the greatest idea to use the double turbo energy and just go to a higher energy count possibly. So that's the full list. We're going to hop over and take a look at how it fared through day 1 and day 2 in the matchups. Now we can thank our friends over at PokeStats for the full matchup spread, and we don't get to see all of the decks, but we can see the majority of them. Now if we look in here, we do see quite a few Gardevoir EXs on this list. We're able to count, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different Gardevoir EX decks, and it was able to win against all of them. And we have some notable players here. We have Aiden Koos, we have Brent Tonneson, we've got Kieran Farah, Matt Burris. I mean, this is a stacked list of people playing Gardevoir, and just this list overtaking them, Obviously, using Iron Hands is so good here, and this was a bad matchup. Going into Gardevoir before Iron Hands was really scary with a Miraidon list, so having this here is proof for the pudding that this deck can do what it needs to do. Now, if we look at some of the other matchups, it did have a tough time against a Charizard in round 5. It looks like the Iron Valiant Entei build in round 10, and then it was able to kind of swing those matchups. It looks like there was a tie in round 15 just to get probably into top cut there. And then we see a win against Charizard EX, so that was also really cool. We got to see it win in round 13 against a mirror match. It did beat a Giratina in round 12. So all of these are looking pretty good. I would say that overall the matchup spread was pretty decent for Miraidon going into this event. And obviously in the finals here, we did get it to see Yuho take down Noah Sawyer with that Iron Valiant, and I think that this is a great deck. If you're scared of Iron Valiant, if you ever want to play something a little bit different, you can definitely play Miraidon, and it's a great matchup spread if you know a lot of people are out there just trying that Iron Valiant deck. With all that being said, we will hop right over and show you some gameplay and talk through each one of the matchups to show you exactly how you should be playing this list. Okay, we've got a match queued up here. We're going to go ahead and hit tails because it never fails us. And it did fail us once again. It's all right. Totally fine. So we're going to get to see our opponents choose whether they want to go first or second. Now, going first or second can really decide a lot of things depending on the matchup. Chances are with a Miraidon deck, you want to go second most of the time. And if you end up going first and get Path, you're just built different, right? But going second is good for us because we can not only use our supporter, but we can also try to squawk and seize. It looks like we're going to be playing up against a Mew VMAX deck, which is going to be a little different. Not exactly sure if we're going to ever use Ampu very much here, but we could definitely use something like Iono Path for sure. Now we do have Nest Ball, which is great. We can go and start our whole tandem unit shenanigans and thin our deck. We have no Pokemon, so that grabber is useless, but they do get to see what we have here, so that could be pretty good for them. And there's a Mew that we can attack. If they load their board, we can go in with a Raikou and get an Electric Generator and then just start swinging into their 2 prize Pokemon. And what that's going to do is create a map for us, right? We want to do 2 prizer, 2 prizer, 2 prizer, and if we have to hit through a 3 prizer like a Mew VMAX, we will, but we play enough boss and enough rope that eventually they will have to bring up a 2 prize Pokemon in most cases, especially since this looks like it's the double turbo Path build and not so much the Fusion Strike energy build, which I believe is actually the better version, but I can see the merit to want to play the Path build now, especially since so many decks are reliant on the abilities from their rule box Pokemon. So let's see. Battle VIP Pass, that's what you love to see, right? We want to see that happen. All right, we're going to put the Mareep down just because we should. I'm going to go here and we'll Nest Ball. We do have Squawk. We might just leave everything open. I do want to get a free retreater just in case. We want to get a Zeraora and a Raikou. And that leaves space for us to go ahead and just do our thing here. We're going to first put up our free retreat Pokemon. Then we will Electric Generator. We do find 1. It's great. And I think that research here is absolutely fine. We aren't going to need all 3 Ionos in a game. And we will need energy in the discard pile at some point. And we just want to see more cards. So this is still pretty fine. They have used their Forest Seal Stone, so that's okay too. We can just put that down now. And I'm going to retreat. Bring this up. Fleetfoot. No Path in play, so that's absolutely fine. we're going to go ahead and Lightning Rondo for a knockout. 210 damage is really, really good here. And we can always hope for a Raichu V play if they do bring up their lonely Mew, and see if we can get enough energy on board here between our researches and our energy and our Flaaffy. I think that we're doing just fine. If they do knock out the Raikou, which most likely they will, if they can get something like the power tablet, then we're still just fine, right? We can attack into this Mew. It's got nothing to attack into. There's the power tablet for knockout. They're going to try and search for another Mew V so they can pivot into a Mew VMAX again next turn. But if we're able to knock this thing out, we can definitely do so. That judge is a little weird for us, just because we don't have too much, but we do have the 4 Seal Stone. So that's really, really good too. Now let's take a look at our discard pile. We didn't get rid of our Lost Vacuum, so that's also really good. So we have a free retreater we're going to put into the active spot, then see if we can answer what they have going here. So let's try, and let's see, proper sequence here is to go like this, and we'll use Arven. Our Arven can get us this. We don't really need the Bravery Charm, so I'll take that as Ultra Ball fodder. I'm just gonna get rid. It's tough getting rid of that Iono, but I think that we're gonna have to do it. You know what? Let's get rid of the energy. Let's try that. We can get our Flaaffy. We won't use it just yet, but let's first use our generator. Look at that. That's beautiful. So I think what I want to do, since they're stranded with this Mew V, is I just want to plant them here, right? And saving this for next turn is really, really good. I think I'm just gonna not flip my stone, because next turn I can flip my stone, right? Just gonna go here, and we can also try to do something like Iono and then maybe even rope afterwards. And we'll go ahead and Photon Blaster for 230 damage. And then if we're able to knock out this Mew VMAX without them getting anything in play, because they have too many cards in their hand and not enough Fusion Strike Pokemon, I think that we're doing just fine, regardless of the path being in play. Now, they've honestly pathed themselves, and I know that these builds play 4 of the Lost Vacuum to get rid of the Path of the Peak, so we'll see if that's what they're going for with this cram. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit, and they're still okay. So they are judging us, which is fine. We want to draw into more energy, more things that we need. Okay, it's boss's order. So if that Mew goes to hide like it is, we can then try to just get energy on the board, which we have in our discard pile. You know what? We don't even need to do that, but we are going to load up our Raichu for the attack here. And I always forget what Raichu's Dynamic Spark. So we are going to rope into our Zeraora. And at this point, I would probably just scoop if I was the Mew player. After what I'm about to do, I'm not even going to use my stone, and we are just going to manually retreat into the Miraidon. Who cares about path? And that's the scoop, and that's amazing.
Hey trainers, tired of having too many cards lying around? I know that feeling, and I know what a hassle it is to try and sell those cards. But selling bulk is now easier than ever with TCG Bulk. Find tons of potential buyers in a single place. You just download the app, look for the best buyer near you, and carefully pack your bulk, ship it, and you get paid. It really is that simple. Turn the cards you don't want into the cards you absolutely need for your next deck.
All right, so we're waiting for our opponent to go ahead and see what they're going to flip here. They chose heads. Let's see if it lands on heads for them. and just go off of that. It does land on head, so we're going to see our opponent make the decision again, whether they're a I go first deck or they're an I go second deck. And I know a lot of the times that we are the I go second deck. So they're going to go first, which is totally fine. Maybe they just need that setup. Maybe we're playing against a Charizard, see if we can overcome. Now, our Raichu's better in most cases, because even if it can't retreat, it can accelerate energy to itself. But we do have the Nest Ball, so now we can go in and squawk and seize, as long as we didn't prize our Squawkabilly EX. Either way, as long as we don't get Path turn 1, we're doing just fine. There we go. Okay. Now, this seems like, I wonder if this is Zoro box where we can amp you very much here. That's exactly what we want to see. It's an amp you very much. Especially when we're able to put Bravery Charm. Okay. Playing against a fighting deck. Interesting. I'm interested. So what would play fighting? And a Hisuian Basculin. Got the Bidoof down. Energy to retreat. So let's see what they've got here. Not too much. They can't gather the crew because they went first. We're able to just go in. Let's see what we've got for Pokemon. We do have our Iron Hands. We do have our Squawkabilly. So what we're going to do first is thin our deck. We'll go in and tandem unit. Let's get this guy and this guy for sure. I'm going to plant an energy here and a Bravery Charm. And then we're going to squawk and seize these 3 energy cards away. Okay. We got second Mareep. Interesting. Can definitely do some things here. So the first thing I want to do, I probably don't need Path. I probably won't need this energy. I want to be able to restart. Let's go here first. Just use this. And you know what? I want to be able to use Forest Seal Stone, so maybe that was the wrong call. So let's just Iono here. We won't need Mew just yet. Maybe give our opponent a better hand. Okay. So we got 1. We just had 1 more energy. We don't have our pivot Pokemon. But what we could do is we could just try to go here and draw an extra card with Fleet-Footed. I think that that's fine. I know that we don't have any free retreat Pokemon, but I think just drawing the extra card is still totally fine. We do have 4 energy in the discard pile. One of our switch outs is gone. So we also have to consider that we only have 1 Iono that's in the discard pile. Now, this is something, Silcobra, so yeah, that's a deck I haven't seen in some time. Hisuian Basculegion? I think that's what that is. That could be pretty nasty if we're going in. We got the Beebs. The Beebs coming out. Alright, so Industrious Incisor is able to give us some more cards in the hand. Then let's see what they do. They're going to gather the crew. So they're going to get some more Pokemon out on the field. But what we really want to do is just go 2 Prizer, 2 Prizer, 2 Prizer with our Iron Hands. And we have Super Rod, so that's good too. That's Fleet Foot. See if we can get into a draw supporter. Okay, there's our generator. And I think that this is where we just throw this rod. I know that, you know, not being able to put Iron Hands back into the deck seems pretty bad. But let's get 3 more energy back in. So our chances for generator are that much better. And the whiff. Oh my gosh. It giveth and it taketh away, everybody. All right, so let's try to... I want to stick this thing in the active, so let's just go here. I don't want him to gather the crew for more Pokemon. I just want the Beebs to do its thing, so let's just end the turn. For now, we got stuck. Sometimes Miraidon does brick. It doesn't hit every single generator, which kind of sucks because we put all that energy back in. But let's see, are they going to be able to retreat or just set up their board for the rest of the game and hope that they draw into something, right? That's really what the hope is. We do have our energy on the active for free retreat. So all we need is a Flaaffy, maybe an Electric Generator, and then maybe a draw supporter. Holy moly. So we're just going to fleet foot. Hopefully we find happiness here. And that's the rope. That's not what we want. We're just going to end the turn, keep passing to our opponent. This is unfortunate against the deck that I think that we're pretty well against, or we do pretty well. Yeah, I think taking out their draw engine here, if we're able to just get something. Okay, 2 can't be that bad, so I'm gonna fleet foot first. Okay, we didn't hit energy, totally fine. We hit 1 energy, also totally fine. We're gonna go here, we're gonna get rid of our free retreat and our escape rope, just because we want to amp you very much. Oh, beautiful. That's what you want to see. Dynamotor. And just for efficiency, we will go ahead and plant an energy into the active spot. Go here. I will put a charm on this Miraidon because it has more HP. We can load it up pretty easily, and then I will amp you very much for the knockout to take 2 prize cards and get us right back in the swing of things with this deck. It took us long enough, but we got there, right? All right, there's the Lost Vacuum. They aren't playing rule box Pokemon, so this path is pretty irrelevant. So I don't even see Lost Vacuum helping us out in this matchup, but the Iron Hands definitely would. So I think what they're trying to do, maybe they can find their evolution Pokemon and then be doing okay. Let's see what they have in store for us after that one. Even if we get an Iono off, we have to count, you know, we have only 1 Iono in here. So if they do knock this out, we can Iono them without a draw supporter on the field. We have to be a little smarter about that. Oh, wow. So they're putting another fighting energy. Okay, so they're getting it back. Interesting. If they put it back down, we can boss it up. And then just take that out. So let's go here. Yep, there's the 20 damage. Unfortunate. Okay, Iono seems pretty good here. Yeah, let's just let's put energy here. Let's Dynamotor. We have our pseudo free retreat Pokemon in Raikou V, and we don't want to give him an extra card. We don't want him to draw cards. Let's just go get this thing up here and amp you very much again for 2 more prize cards. If left unchecked, Iron Hands EX does some terrible, terrible things. All right, so there we go. This poor Silcobra is left here in the active, and really all we have to do is just knock something out with Miraidon and then knock something out with a Raikou, and we are just fine because there's no way that they're going to be able to take extra prize cards, I'm sure. So this might be a real thing here. It's got to hit 260 damage for each basic energy card and then shuffle those here, so then they're not going to have much to deal with. Our opponent conceded, and that's really how Amp You Very Much affects the game. Wow. Well, the LAIC Tournament Battleground proved to be a great place for Miraidon to roam free and just gobble up all of those wins throughout day 1 and day 2 into the finals. And we got to see it here too, so Hopefully you understand the power of how Miraidon has adapted and shifted into this new meta with Paradox Rift. And if you do like videos like this, let us know down in the comments. If you have any suggestions for the list, let us know there too. Always remember to hit the like button and the subscribe button for more content like this on the channel as well. But as far as Miraidon goes, I hope that you try this list out. You can always copy it down from the description below, and we will catch you on the next video here. I'm PJ signing off from the Shuffle Squad. We'll see you next time.
You made it to the end. Thank you so much for watching this entire video from the Shuffle Squad. Honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, we appreciate each and every person that supports our content, watches what we have going on every single day, every single week, even from time to time, and continuously allows us to have a forum to project our creative content towards the Pokemon TCG community. So if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and even leave a comment to help boost the YouTube algorithm. That being said, we'll catch you with our next video. Thanks again. Take it easy.